Hey, Dr. Karen here. You know, um, since the whole C thing that happened the last few years, I went from being kind of like, the white knight of the family, being doctory and all, and multiple letters out after my name, and multiple bestsellers, and a credible person, to being the black sheep of the family, with having you know half the family now non-friended me on Facebook because of my views about the C and the V and all sorts of things. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. um, I think I am ready to come back out to this and other social platforms. I have built my own on Circle. So if you are, you know, interested in some of the energy healing work, light medicine stuff that I'm into, would love to invite you there on Circle. And the Light Warrior Network here on Facebook is my other group. And right now, we are so busy on Circle that it's kind of like an announcement group. Um, and I can certainly put the link to that group after the video is over. So um, today, I'm going to talk about something weird. Yeah, why? Well, it's 4 days until my launch on Wealth Revolution. So it's a telesummit. A lot of people interested in holistic healing, energy healing, light medicine, in Wealth Revolution. And I have said no to them for the last 2 years because I've been really busy in the business, kind of working on the behind the scenes stuff, like making courses better and systems. And now we have a new director of operations. So we are a full-fledged team. It just happens that we're all women. It's kind of funny. I did interview men for the position, but we ended up all women. So what that means is it is going to get more and more and more. I get to be here more. I get to talk more, and coming out of my shell a little bit, in social media. So today I'm going to talk about the story. Um, that's relevant to the launch, which I'm talking about the 7 holographic detox codes on Monday, on the 16th, 4 p.m. with Darius, the host of the Wealth Telesummit. And this story has to do with years ago, as I was getting into light medicine, and people coming to the office. I'd see people online. It kind of started in. Uh, and this one woman said she swore that there's a demon jumping into bed with her at night. Not every night, but some nights. And I thought, okay, well, that's easy. I know from my perspective, it's easy. I know it's kind of weird for most people, but um, I'm like, okay, well, let me check your house, and let's just, clear any entities there. And in my entity clearing program, which is not, something I released a long time ago, we check a bunch of things. We check the home, underneath the home. We check above the home. We check, sleep realms. We check the electronics. We check, of course, the people. Well, after doing an initial clearing, there was not an entity jumping on the bed. And I know to check when the person's sleeping, but I still could not find it. Right. So I'm like, well, this is strange. And I'm like, are you sure? And she's like, yes. I feel like there's this big heavy thing that just sort of and plops in my bed. And immediately I got a vision of like this big golden retriever. So I was like, okay. I said, curious, does it feel like if you had a big dog, like that it like a big dog was jumping on your bed to go to sleep with you? And she's like, yeah, it kind of does sort of feel like that. But she was convinced it was a demon, right? So here is the quality question. I'm the queen of quality questions. This is how the whole Topican healing modality works. I teach people how to ask quality questions, align to source, ask these quality questions, and activate the healing, right? The align and the activate is actually the pretty easy part. The quality questions can be a little tricky. So in this case, I could not find a demon entity, nothing that was jumping on her bed. So then I said, Is it possible that this is real? What she's feeling is real in some reality. And the answer was yes. And I'm like, oh, okay. So if it's real, where exactly is this happening? Well, what do you think? It's her alternate parallel timeline. Yes. So in that parallel timeline, she had pretty much the same house, but she had a big dog. Yep, it was a dog. And the dog was jumping into bed with her at night. So she'd go to bed in this reality, this timeline, and then she could feel the of the bed in her other timeline. Now that's a pretty weird story. I've never heard anybody else talk about something like that. And you might be going, okay. Well, here's the thing is that we have, as a collective, in my current understanding, have gone through this phase of expansion, including the expansion of our spiritual gifts or our, you know, um, clairs, I like to call them, our clairsentience, clairvoyance, clairaudience, some of our spiritual gifts. Um, so, some people want spiritual gifts. People are like, oh, I want to do psychokinesis like the X-Men, or I want to move things with my mind. I want to do telepathy. I want to be able to read minds like Edward Cullen in, Twilight, all this kind of stuff. And the funny thing is we actually have access to all of that. Whether we can control it or not is another story, right? Or whether we're blocking it. So this particular woman, her clairs were expanding with the ascension, if you will, with the expansion of the universe. So much so that she was almost bleeding timeline. So her timeline, where she did have a big dog, she could actually almost physically feel it in her body, which is fascinating. Here's what's more fascinating. She's not alone. There are many cases that we have gone through, and I, of course, serve sensitive souls of all types, men, women, children from around the world, thousands of people. A third of the population who's considered a highly sensitive person, according to Dr. Elaine Aron, the one who coined the HSP, the highly sensitive person, right? So there's at least 30% of us that are highly sensitive, so not a small amount. And we are becoming more and more sensitive, not in a bad way, not in a, oh, I'm so sensitive, I can't eat gluten kind of way. Yeah, that's happening. But they're forgetting these are superpowers. These are superpowers. That sensitivity. If you can't control them, it feels like a curse, right? But if you can control them, understand them, know them, kind of go in, go out, and be able to harness them to be able to use them, it's a different story. And life can be freaking amazing, okay, when that happens. So many of us are having these strange things happening. It feels like it's happening to our bodies. It feels like it's in this timeline, right? But sometimes it's not. So even just questioning, what timeline is this happening in? Sometimes is enough for there a degree of separation, and that sometimes that symptom or whatever you're feeling may not be your stuff from this body and timeline. So we're going to be talking about all that kind of stuff during the interview with Darius on Monday. And why, for sensitive souls, why detoxifying, so to speak, shouldn't just be physical. We can detoxify negative things from our alternate timelines, but not only those. We're going to be talking about soul destiny partners, alternate soul destiny partners, otherworldly things. Sometimes I feel Mother Earth, sometimes I feel the universe, sometimes I feel different things. But what an amazing gift to be able to know what you're dealing with, right? And that's what I'm so passionate about, is to help people really understand they're not going crazy. They're just not understanding what they are sensing, from when, from who, and from what dimension. And all of that is actually pretty easy once you know the formula. So we're going to be talking about that on Monday. So I'll put the link below, as well as the link to the community. Would love to have you come in there. Let's continue the conversation there. And yeah, I'll do my best to be a little bit more available here on social media. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. And can't read all the comments when I'm using this particular app, but I'll go back and answer if there are any comments. Much love, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Remember, Monday, 4 p.m.